Let's get started. So with the fuselage partially designed, it's now time that we need to figure out the landing gear before we go any further. We've been looking online trying to find the cost of these things and the one which will fit. We can't seem to find the one which will fit and be scale looking. And the cost is like $90 plus per strut. And that's just way too much for this model. So we decided to design our own. So we'll do that first, and later on in the video we'll show you how to do the fuselage design. So I found a side view of a strut, and I needed this to get the pivot points to start to model it in 3D. First off, I wanted to check the animation and run a simulation on all the pivot points, make sure this thing works. So I designed what I call a flat stick figure of the strut before I did it all in 3D, just to verify everything works. So with the stick figure design completed, it's now time to run the simulation, which is what's on the screen now. And lo and behold, somehow it worked on the first attempt. Right now I'm just using the inside plunger, if you will, to make sure all the joints are moving correctly and that all the pivot points are good, and everything seems to be in order. So let's go to 3D. So first I designed up the upper main strut. This is the large part. Then I put the connecting rod on, then the lower fork and the internal plunger, or whatever you want to call it. Then I added the landing gear to scale, and then checked it all over. Unfortunately, I had a problem trying to animate the 3D model, but it does work. We did print it out and it works perfectly. That's coming now. A really neat thing about Fusion 360 is all these other tools, like this particular one, section analysis. It allows me to slice across the 3D model and look at the internals of it. And this is critical in a lot of designs, especially something like a landing gear. Step one, when I design a scale model, I look for the photographs of the model I'm interested in. I get views from top, bottom, right, back, everything. Then I look for 3 views. Well, once we've got all the detailed photographs of the plane, we can then look for some 3-view drawings. So I found a few. They're not that great, but it's very difficult to find some for this plane. So anyhow, I'll turn those on. So you can see that you know, it's giving me the left profile. I've got a top profile and I've got a front profile. And what I do is I just simply match them all together in Fusion 360 and then line them all up. But before I do that, I have to scale them to the exact size of the plane that I want to use, because this is going to be a 3D plug printed to make the molds. So the way I do that, you simply go into calibrate. I'm not going to select it because I don't want to change anything. And then you would click on, say, the front to a particular portion of the tail. It will come up with a dialog box. You type in exactly what you want in either millimeters or inches. And in this case, I can't remember. I think we set for 67 inches. And then it scales all the drawings appropriately. So then I'm now going to be working with a scale model of that size, which is really good. So then we start on the bodies. So I'll turn the body on. And you can see that I've got the fuselage there. It's the main fuselage. Then I break it down into what we call components. So the first component is the main fuselage. That includes the canopy, all this stuff, the spine, everything scaled and designed that way. I'm not going to show you how I do that because there's a guy on YouTube who just does some amazing videos on how to design both surface modeling and this guy, which is form modeling. And it's a really good channel, so I suggest if you really want to learn how to do fuselages, he does a whole lot better than I can do. So anyhow, the next stage I then made the vertical stab, as you can see here. And then I did one side of the horizontal stab. I'm going to turn the no, I'll leave that on for a minute. That way I'm working with just one side. I don't have to do two at once. I can then mirror that over to this side and it'll be a perfect match. And I'll do the same when I do the wing. So now we've got everything in position. We can now turn off these canvases and you can then start to see the model in a bit closer detail. So working with the model, you know, you can pretty much do anything in Fusion. I'm no expert, so you know, I make mistakes. It takes me a long time to do some stuff. So the canopy, to get the glass and everything and to get the mold, you make it as a separate piece. So, you know, I could turn off the canopy frames and glass and so forth, and then you're left with just the fuselage. And it's very easy. The guy who I'm going to leave the link to shows you exactly how to do that in great detail, so there's no point me making a mess of it and trying to show you. He's got it really down pretty smooth. So what you can do then is you can, you know, just recheck all your alignments and everything. And as you can see, you know, I mean, plus or minus a couple of millimeters because of the thickness of the lines for the drawing that we have. You know, it can vary just slightly. And some of the things that you might not be able to do in Fusion, and one of them is I just couldn't get this bottom intersection correctly where it melds with the fuselage. But looking at it, I know that I can, once I've got the plug, I can just run a little bit of filler down here and do some sanding and get the perfect smoothness that I want to do. So I tend to not spend too much time on the CAD side. I just want to get the basic stuff and then I'll put all the detail in post finishing. So anyhow, there's the fuselage model. We've just begun. We'll get into it all and, you know, take you through the creative process, the 3D printing, the hand finishing, adding scale details, etc., etc., as we go on.